Good evening, good evening. Welcome back to God is My Strength. Good evening, good evening. Hope you're having a lovely evening wherever you're watching from. And today I've come to give you a powerful scripture, a scripture about restoration. It's about kindness, it's about grace, it's about coming out of the wilderness, coming out of a dark place, but finding favor in the eyes of great people. And this story is so powerful. And it's an example of how a little bit of kindness can go a long way, how you can find favor with people because of kind acts, good things that you have done for others and that you remembered. You've come to their, you've come to the forefront of their mind, and because of that, they want to bless you. So, as we dive into the scripture this evening, I really hope that we'll be able to learn something from this awesome scripture. Without further ado, we're going to be looking at Second Samuel chapter 9. And this story is the story about King David and Mephibosheth, which is Jonathan's son. And if we know the story about David and Jonathan, they were good friends. They were men that had a wonderful relationship of love, kindness. And this chapter focuses on how King David had come back to bless Jonathan's son after his death and to favor the household of Mephibosheth. And here goes the reading of God's holy word. David asked, "Is there anyone still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" Now, King Saul was Jonathan's father, David's rival. He hated David because David was so powerful, because David was anointed, he was called by God. And King Saul, once he discovered how powerful David was, how strong he was in battle, there was a resentment there. So there was many plots and schemes to destroy David's life by Saul. But Jonathan, his son, loved David. He had a relationship with him, a friendship, love. And because of that, he was always standing in the gap to ensure that his father, Saul, did not harm David. So today, the scripture said, David asked, "Is there anyone still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" Now, this is after Jonathan and Saul had died. He's saying, I want to show mercy. I want to bless his household because of the kindness of Jonathan. So he was asking. Now there was a servant of Saul's household named Ziba. They summoned him to appear before David. And the king said to him, "Are you Ziba?" "At your service," he replied. The king asked, "Is there no one still alive from the house of Saul to whom I can show God's kindness? I want to be a blessing to this household, this man who has been my friend, this great friend. I want to show some mercy. I want to extend kindness to his household. Is there anyone still alive from the house of Saul to whom I can show God's kindness?" And we go on to continue with verse 3. Ziba answered the king, "There is still a son of Jonathan. He is lame in both feet." In other words, he's disabled. So this is Jonathan's son. "Where is he?" the king asked. This is King David. "Where is he?" Eagerness. "Where is he? Bring him, come. I want to bless him." Ziba answered, "He is at the house of Machir, son of Hamiel, in Lo-Debar." Now we're going to pause here. What is Lo-Debar? Now, Lo-Debar is a place of hopelessness, lack, barrenness, unproductive, stagnancy, forgotten, forsaken, spiritual poverty, disconnection, so many words to describe. It's a place of emptiness. There's nothing going there. There's nothing fruitful going on there. He is in Lo-Debar city, But this city was forgotten. This city wasn't very productive. This city was not being favored. There was no grace here. There was barrenness, there was emptiness. And if you think about it, it was someone was who was lame. So I wouldn't think that there would be much going on for him. He wouldn't be out there, working or having maybe a steady income of a streams of ways to provide for himself. Emptiness, feeling hopeless. Where is he? The king asked. Ziba answered, is in Lo-Debar. And Lo-Debar is described as a place, no productivity, a forgotten place, forsaken. And for some of us, there are times in our lives when we feel like we're in Lo-Debar, when nothing is working in our lives. There's nothing moving, nothing good is going on. We have tried businesses, they have failed. We've tried relationships, they have failed. We've tried to make good of our lives. Sometimes it's health challenges, so many things that can place us in Lo-Debar or let us feel like we're in Lo-Debar because there's no production, there's no growth, there's nothing moving, there's a stagnancy, there's a heaviness, there is a darkness in your life. Do you feel like you're in Lo-Debar this evening? How does it feel to be in Lo-Debar? Because when I did my little research to see what Lo-Debar was, it was a barren place, it was an empty place, there was nothing going on there. But there was Jonathan's son. So King David had him brought from Lo-Debar, from the house of Machir, son of Hamiel. Now, this is the part of the story I want you to look at. So he's in Lo-Debar, he's in unproductive land, he's in a land of emptiness and barrenness, brokenness, feeling forgotten and forsaken. But here was the king showing divine mercy, asking for him to come. Bring him come. I want to be a blessing. I want to bless him. I want to favor him because of his granddad and because of his father's sake. I want to be a blessing to him. So King David had him brought from Lo-Debar, the empty place, the barren place, the place of unproductivity, the stagnant place, from the house of Machir, son of Hamiel. How many of us at times we feel like we're in Lo-Debar? We feel that there's a poverty upon our life, spiritual poverty, emptiness, lack. Nothing is moving. We feel disconnected from society. Sometimes we feel so hopeless, Lo-Debar, brokenness. Nothing seems to be working. Sometimes our marriages have failed, relationships have failed. Sometimes it's the business that has failed. Sometimes we've tried so many ways, to help ourselves, but nothing is working. Everything seems to be against us. Even the people in our lives that are there to encourage us. Sometimes even they're the ones who are making us feel even worse because sometimes you're saying to them, I'm feeling low in the spirit. I'm not feeling well. This is not working, but they're not there to encourage you. Lo-Debar. He was in Lo-Debar. Imagine being a disabled person. He said he was lame. If you go back to verse 3, he said the king asked, is there anyone in the house of Saul whom I can show mercy? And they answered, yes, there is, Jonathan's son, but he is lame in both feet. Imagine being lame in both feet. I don't think he would have been able to move around a lot. And those days, I don't think they had wheelchairs. So I don't think that he would be able to go out and work and provide for himself. He said he's in Lo-Debar, Lo-Debar, emptiness, hopelessness, barrenness, stagnancy, forgotten, forsaken. And as we continue, verse 5. So King David had him brought from Lo-Debar, mighty God. This is a part of it I want us to focus on. So from Lo-Debar, imagine from Lo-Debar, emptiness, brokenness, barrenness. But now the king want to show you favor. So King David had him brought from Lo-Debar, from the house of Machir, son of Amiel. When Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, came to David, he bowed down to pay him honor. David said, Mephibosheth, at your service, he replied. This is Jonathan's son. Don't be afraid, David said to him, for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. This is the favor because of his father. Because of his father, he was being blessed. He was being favored because of the goodness that his dad had shown to David. So Jonathan and David, they were friends. They were great friends. They were great friends. And Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David. He said, may the Lord bless you and call all your enemies to account. Jonathan was very productive and protective of David when he learned that his father wanted to kill him, that King Saul wanted to kill him. Jonathan knew that Saul, his father, wanted David to be killed. But Jonathan loved David. He said that they loved each other. They had a wonderful relationship. If you look at 1 Samuel verse 20, they had an awesome friendship. So every step of the way, Jonathan was keeping David in the loop because was telling him what his dad was up to. King Saul wanted to kill him because David was so great. He was anointed by God. There was a calling upon his life. He was favored by God. And Saul did not like that. So he wanted him dead. He even go as far to tell Jonathan and his men to kill him. But Jonathan and David, they were one in the spirit. And he said, and David loved him as he loved himself. Imagine you love someone as you love yourself. You wouldn't want any harm to come to them. The same way you wouldn't want any harm to come to yourself. It's the same you would want for that person. And you can find that part of the story in 1 Samuel, verses 18, 1 and 2. But Saul despised David and ordered that Jonathan and his men kill him. But once he learned of it, he went and he spoke to David. He went and he spoke to him. He even go as far to speak to his dad. He spoke highly about him, basically to tell the dad, this thing, this hatred you have in your heart towards this great man is not worthy because he's a great man. He's a good man. Look at all the things that he had done for Israel. Look at all the battles he had fought. He is a good man. Please refrain from doing this thing. But this even made Saul hated him even more. So let's continue with the story again. In verse 7, he said, don't be afraid. David said to him, for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. He said, I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you also will eat at my table. Look at the favor, divine grace, because of the kindness that Jonathan had shown to David all those years when he was running from King Saul, when he wanted him dead. The wonderful friendship they had, and because of that love for each other, he's saying, come, I want to bless your household. Is there anyone in your household that I can bless? And he said, I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table. What an awesome story of divine favor, divine grace by God. Imagine coming from Lo-Debar, the land of emptiness, the land, a place of dead where there's nothing, stagnancy. And then the next minute you're sitting at the king's table and the king is telling you, you will eat at my table continually. Mighty God, I pray that we will find favor with not just God, but also with man, just the same as Jonathan's son found favor with David. And verse 8 continues, it said, Mephibosheth bowed down and said, what is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? In other words, he had given up on himself. He considered himself to be a dead dog. In mean that there was, he considered himself to be a nobody. I am nothing. But he humbled himself. He said, what is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? Why are you coming here to notice me? I am nothing. I am a dead dog, nothing in this world. He humbled himself. He bowed down, humility, grace. What is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? He has written himself off. But I guess if you're in Lo-Debar, sometimes you feel like that. You feel that there is no hope. There's no help is coming. There's no rescue. You feel like no one is coming to help you. That's what it feels when you're at your lowest ebb in life. You really feel at times that there's no one coming to take you out of this dark place, especially when you know you have tried everything in your power. You've done everything that you can do in your human capacity to help yourself, to pull yourself out, but nothing is working. You've given up. He said, why would you notice a dead dog like me? Why would you notice me? Look at me. Look at my life. I am lame. I can't move. I've got 2 legs. They don't even work. I am in this empty place. My life is over. My dad is gone. There's no one here. to show me grace, to show me mercy. Here you are coming to tell me, what is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? What am I for you to consider me that you want to favor me? This is what he was saying. And as it continues in verse 9, then the king summoned Ziba, Saul's steward, and said to him, I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his father. May the Lord restore everything to us that the enemy has stolen. May the Lord restore unto us double for all the trouble that we have gone through in our lives. Verse 10, you and your sons and your servants are to farm the land for him and bring in the crops so that your master's grandson may be provided for. In other words, he's saying, look, I am bringing you from emptiness to grace. I am favoring you. He's now asking, you and your sons and your servants are to farm the land for him and bring in the crops so that your master's grandson may be provided for. And the story continues. And Mephibosheth, grandson of your master, will always eat at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. King David is saying, listen, from today your story has changed. From today I have lifted you from Lo-Debar to divine grace. No more lack, no more emptiness, no more stagnancy. As from today, you will eat at my table continually. Imagine what a blessing, what a restoration. Imagine 1 minute your life is in Lo-Debar. Nothing is working. You're lame. You can't move. You're hungry. You're lacking. You feel you've given up on life, because anyone who has considered himself to be a dead dog has literally given up on life. If you're describing yourself as a dead dog, it means that you've given up. You're saying to yourself, I am a nobody. Who am I for you to want to bless me? Who am I that you want to favor me? But that is the thing. When God's favor is upon your life, it doesn't matter where you are or what level you are in your life. When the Lord reached down and he stretched forth his hand and he said, it's your time for grace, it's your time for favor, nobody can stop it. He has given upon himself, but God has not given upon him, meaning that his story was still being written. And there's a lot of us in our lives, we do feel like this at times. And I've gone through these stages of my life where I feel like I was in Lo-Debar. My work wasn't productive. My relationship was not productive. My family life, finances, everything was not being productive. And I felt like I was in Lo-Debar. I felt like no help was coming. I was trying everything around me to help myself in my human capability to help myself, but nothing was working. The man has given. I'm going to take you guys right back to this verse 8. Look at what he said. Mephibosheth bowed down and said to King David, what is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? Imagine describing yourself as a dead dog. A dead dog. It means that you've given up. There's no more hope. You're just waiting to die. You've written yourself off. You've written yourself off. But here the king came and he blessed him. He favored him. He said, is there anyone in the house of Saul that I may bless him? He said, I want to bless you for the sake of your father. Now, guys, I want you to focus with me for a little bit. Do you see how important it is for us to do good? It's not just for us, but also for generations to come. He blessed him because of his father, Jonathan, because King David and Jonathan, they were like brothers. They had a wonderful relationship. And he said, I want to bless you because the sake of your father, Jonathan. He was a good man. He was a great friend. And I want to bless you. So the good that Jonathan had done to David, this was what his son was reaping, the blessing, the reward from that. Do you see how important it is for us? Whether we are children of God, whether we are Christians or whatever religion we choose to be, do you see how important it is for us to just do good? Just do good because it's the right thing to do. Because the good that we do is what will come back onto us. It's what our children and our generations to come, they will benefit from it. He said, I want to bless you for the sake of your father, because your father was a good man. He was a great friend. He protected me. He kept me in the loop. When King Saul wanted to kill me, when he was hunting me down day and night, pursuing me relentlessly, wanted to kill me. But every step of the way, Jonathan had David's back. He was always telling him what his father was up to. What a great friend. What a great friend. And because of that, his son now, who was in Lo-Debar, his son that was disabled in a land of barrenness, he said, I want to bless you. I want to bless you. I want to bless you. He said, you will feast at my table continually. Favor, divine grace, because the goodness that his father has done. And we continue in verse 11. Then Ziba said to the king, your servant will do whatever my lord the king command his servant to do. So Mephibosheth ate at David's table like one of the king's son, meaning that there was so much favor. He was now eating at the king's table as if he was one of King David's son. And he said that you will eat at my table continually. It wasn't just for show. It wasn't just for a one-off. It was something that would be continually. You will be forever be cared for. You will eat at my table day and night. You will not lack anything. You're now my responsibility. You're now a part of me. He said, then Ziba said to king, your servant will do whatever my lord the king commanded his servant to do. So Mephibosheth ate at David's table like one of the king's son. What an awesome story of divine favor and grace when the Lord just really opened his eyes and said, today is your day of restoration. Today is your day of blessing. And that's exactly what happened to him. Verse 12 and last reads, he said, Mephibosheth had a young son named Micah, and all the members of Ziba's households were servants of Mephibosheth. And Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem because he always ate at the king's table. He was lame in both feet. What a divine story. The Lord had restored him. The Lord showed him favor. He showed him grace, even though he has written himself off, even though he has given up on life, even though he was in the land of barrenness, Lo-Debar, stagnancy. Even though he was at the place where nothing was moving in his life, nothing was thriving. There was so much unproductivity there. But God said, this is your day of restoration. It is your day of divine favor. And he put it upon King David's heart to go and bless him. There's so many morals for this story. One of the most important, the key point is it is important for us to do good, because when we do good, good will follow us. And not just us, but also our children, our families also will be blessed because of the good that we have shown to others. Because we have been kind, we have been gracious and merciful to others. Our own families will benefit from it. And this is a prime example of that. But it's also a story about divine favor from God. It's also a story about restoration. It's also a story about grace. It's also a story about grace. So we've come to the end of this awesome scripture. For those who have just joined, we were reading the story of Jonathan's son, when King David blessed him because of his father's sake. We're looking at 2 Samuel verse 9. You can read it in your spare time. We've come to the reading of the scripture. I hope you have learned something. But if you haven't taken anything away from the scripture, I just want to leave you with this. Just do all the good that you can to all the people that you can, because the seed that we sow today will be the blessing that we will reap tomorrow. If we do good, good will follow us. We sow negative seed, negativity will follow us. We do evil in this land, and so shall we reap. Just do good, as much good as you can, whenever the opportunity comes for you to do that. I want you all to be blessed. I pray that the Lord will favor you just as he has favored Mephibosheth. I pray that you will find favor not just with God, but also with man. I pray that the Lord will lift you out of any emptiness that you find yourself in, any barrenness, any stagnancy in your life. If you're feeling hopeless tonight, I hope you'll be encouraged to know that your story is still being written. And even though you may have given up on yourself, the Lord is still writing your story. And it's only over when God said it's over. Take courage tonight. Be of good courage and continue to trust God, and he will work it out for you. Until next time, be blessed. See you soon.